My name is Anthony Delgado, and I've been a serial entrepreneur and software developer for the last 10 years. And when Hurricane Maria struck the island of Puerto Rico, I came across a problem bigger than myself. Yo soy New Yorican, born and raised in New York City, but my family's from Arecibo. And every summer as a child, I would come to the island of Puerto Rico, and my grandfather, his dying deeds were going to New York, picking us up as children, and bringing us here. And he did that every single summer until the day that he died. So unlike a lot of other friends of mine that are part of the quote-unquote diaspora, right? These Puerto Ricans who've lived in New York for their whole lives, I've been to this island. I've been to this island as a child. When I hear the coquí, it actually reminds me of my childhood. And my grandfather passed away when I was a teenager, and after that we kind of stopped coming. And I came here a few times almost as a tourist, right? And when Hurricane Maria happened, every single Puerto Rican in New York City and really in the whole nation came together to try to help our island. Even the Puerto Ricans who have never been here, right? There's a lot of pride in the United States for all these Puerto Ricans. Once we started doing social media campaigns and showing people what we were doing, we had people reaching out who were third and fourth and fifth generation. Like, yeah, my great grandmother, came here. And so we all came together. There was huge drives for donations in New York City. The police locked down the streets. Me and a couple buddies of mine, we bought a pallet of water, pallet of food, sent stuff over. And then a month or two later, we saw that the supplies were not getting distributed the way that they should have been. And I'm sure that you guys have seen on the news, you guys have seen the million bottles of water that were found in the middle of the forest and all of those things. So a lot of the donations that were given were not going to the right places, and we saw that. And after that, I met a man named David, and he's lived here for 10 years. He's also New Yorican. He moved here, to get in contact with his roots. And his nonprofit his for-profit turned into a nonprofit. And the same trucks that he used to use as a tour guide, he started using to distribute supplies all around the island. So we connected. He gave me an invitation to come to Puerto Rico and come make a difference, right? So we sat in Manhattan in a diner and we spoke about what were the problems on the island and how could we solve them. So the first was energy, right? There's no power, 50% of the island or more. And so, the first thing that I think of as a tech guy, I'm like, okay, great, solar panels, right? Solar energy. And we actually reached out to Solar City, Elon Musk company, and tried to get that to happen. And I think Akon, a lot of people did some good work there. And then the next thing that we started talking about is the myself, I've been a software developer my whole life. I started coding when I was in second grade, started hacking when I was in middle school, and it's been the tool that I've used as an individual to transform my economic status, right? We grew up lower middle class. We didn't have a silver spoon in our mouths, but by coding, by being an online entrepreneur, digital entrepreneur, I was able to create financial freedom for myself. And I know that all I need is Wi-Fi and a dream in order to succeed in this world. So I'm super confident to move anywhere in the world. I can move to Puerto Rico, I can move to the Dominican Republic. The first question I have is there Wi-Fi? So the topic of this entire week of events and workshops is Wi-Fi and a dream, is how you can create financial freedom with nothing more than an internet connection. And we have a huge lineup of different speakers from all different walks of life. Some of them are born and raised in Puerto Rico and live in Puerto Rico. Some of them are born and raised in Puerto Rico but live abroad. Some of them were born and raised abroad and moved here to start a new life. And some of them are just international speakers who are flying in. We have people flying in from Africa, Indonesia, Bali, other islands, right? Other places. But the one thing that they all have in common, whether it's crypto, whether it's stock trading, whether it's Forex, whether it's marketing, whether it's starting apps, making websites, starting Facebook advertising campaigns, the one thing they all have in common is the only thing they need to succeed is Wi-Fi and a dream. So that is the topic of this entire week. It's about entrepreneurship and using technology as a way to transform and transcend economic situations. But to backtrack, so we're back in this diner and we're having this conversation, and he brings up the economy and he brings up the fact that The second biggest driver of the economy here on the island is the service industry, is tourism and leisure, right? And to me, all the Puerto Ricans that I know in New York, we're big shots. Like, we're running companies, like we're kicking in the door and taking names, right? And that's when we came up with the concept for Disrupt, to kind of bring some of the things that we were already doing in New York City and bring them down here to Puerto Rico. And we're having this conversation, and then he looks at me in my face and he's like, dude, that's a great story, great ideas you have there. When are you coming down? Right? When are you going? Because we're still in New York. We're still in a diner. And a week later, I booked my ticket. And then every single day up until the day that I left, I convinced another friend or stranger why they needed to come with me and come help. And one of our taglines at Disrupt, it's we're out here. And it was almost a joke, because we flew down here, we booked one-way tickets. Some of the people didn't even know each other. And we didn't know what we were doing, but we knew that we wanted to help, right? And so many people came to us and they were like, hey, ask the governor. Why don't you ask Trump? Why don't you ask the mayor, the congressman, X, Y, and Z? And at the end of the day, we're not a nonprofit. We're not some big corporation. We're not sponsored by Disney or Walmart or anybody. It was just a bunch of crazy New Yorkers that took it upon ourselves to come down here and make a difference. And we gave away 300 solar panel lights, food, water, supplies. I got to know the island more than I ever did, even as a child. I went to the north, the west, the south, the east, the center of the island, into the mountains. And we knocked on people's doors and we gave them cases of water, and we gave them solar panel lights that could charge their phones and give them a light at night. We went to a school in Patilas where the children had a generator in the school, but when they went home, they were in darkness, right? So we gave all of those children solar panel lights, so at home they would have light when they went home. And we ended up teaming up with a lot of incredible organizations through this process. We teamed up with Crazy Legs, who's another New Yorican out here from the Rocksteady crew. He runs an amazing festival called Puerto Rocksteady Festival out here in Puerto Rico. We teamed up with, through him, he teamed up with Red Bull and brought water filtration systems all throughout the island. Again, he's just an individual who made this choice. Angie Martinez and Tidal came down here with Rutgers, and they did some more work with solar energy. So there's a lot of people who just made the decision, right? And that's another kind of topic of this whole week, is how all you need is one individual. One human being can make a difference. You can be the change that you want to see in the world. And we need to get out of this mindset of waiting for someone, waiting for, the savior, waiting for the governor, the government. Forget the government, okay? The private sector, every single individual in here, you have access to the internet, you have access to the entire world. You can direct message Elon Musk. You can direct message every single human being in this world from every single economic status, and you can compete in the world market. And, 500 years ago, even 100 years ago, even 30 years ago, oh, you like that? Even 30 years ago, that wasn't true, right? The hundreds and hundreds of miles of water that surround this island isolated us. But that's no longer true anymore. We have a fiber internet connection to the entire world here in Puerto Rico. And what Disrupt stands for, our mission is to empower the next generation of developers, thought leaders, creatives, and entrepreneurs to create financial freedom for themselves, their lives, and live out their true purpose. And understand the fact that there is nothing stopping them from being who they're set out to be. So I want to share a quick video with you guys. This is our trip to Puerto Rico. This is where I met my co-founder and creative director, Manny, behind the camera. We actually met 2 hours before the plane ride. So 2 hours before our plane to Puerto Rico, we had talked a little bit on, we out here, bro. He wants another password. So the password to my laptop was actually changed on this trip. It was changed to We Out Here so that Manny could actually do the photo editing. We made this documentary with almost no internet connection. We were staying in Luquillo Beach, and he put this whole thing together. He came to Puerto Rico with a laptop with a cracked screen and pulled out an entire monitor from his suitcase and made it work. So this is a short little documentary that kind of documented why we started this show.
Hurricane Maria.
Hurricane Maria.
Hurricane Maria.
Slamming into the island, and as you heard, one official saying the island is destroyed.
Flooding in every direction.
Across Puerto Rico, there is almost no power and no cell phone signal.
Here in San Juan, many roads are impassable and communication systems are down.
President Trump was criticized for a terrible response to Hurricane Maria.
Now, I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack.
It's been over 5 months since Hurricane Maria hit the island of Puerto Rico. And still, over 50% of the island does not have access to electricity or clean water. FEMA wasn't helping these communities, so we decided to take matters into our own hands.
We won't quit, they won't quit, so we won't quit. That's how that works. If they're not gonna quit, we're not gonna quit. What's your excuse? You got $10 for Starbucks, you got $10 for life though.
El problema está en nosotros. Exacto. En nosotros como pueblo. Nosotros como materia prima de un país. Porque pertenezco a un país donde la gente se siente triunfal si consiguen poner un pillo de agua o luz, sin pensar el que al final todos pagamos el cabrón.
Yo no soy activista, nunca he montado un piquete en mi vida. No tengo afiliación política, defiendo el derecho de todos los que opinan. No creo que la mayoría sepa lo que diga. No creo que hay un plan concertado de la CIA, como dicen las teorías de quienes conspiran. Si la cosa está jodida, pues se responsabiliza. No creo que esté diciendo nada que no se sabía. Los otros días en la Ponce de León toqué bocina para que no pisaran un peatón. Parece que al de la cor no le gustó y se encabronó y me persiguió hasta que por la ventana me apuntó un cañón. Tú sí que eres bravo, titerón, después habla mierda de lo que se robó un senador, pero en la luz te saca el pistolón. Esto está cabrón, esto está cabrón. Dicen que la prostitución es el negocio más viejo, pero yo creo que la corrupción vino primero. Y yo no estoy hablando del gobierno. Apuntar el dedo, escogernos de pendejos, como si no tuviésemos velas en este entierro. Aumentar los impuestos, pero nunca los sueldos. Cosechamos lo que merecemos, brega con eso. Échale la culpa al que esté en el espejo. ¿Tú no crees que es igual de puerco? El dueño del negocio que nos rinde el impuesto, pero sigue cobrándote el 11%. Se queda con tu dinero y no es alcalde ni cabildero. No todas las minorías son pandilleros, no todos los policías son cerdos. Esto no es nosotros contra ellos, es nosotros contra nosotros. Yo sé que podemos. El problema está en nosotros. Exacto. En nosotros como pueblo. Nosotros como materia prima.
No te apures, para que las cosas se van a poner mejor. Se van a poner mejor, no te apures. Pon tiempo con una lámpara.
Ay, qué lindo, gracias, mi amor.
This is the part that kills. Que Dios te me cuide, mamá. Mira que le echo un poco de todo.
Oh, this is awesome, man.
Toma más, topa tu Trata esta galletita con vasito de café. Oíste, más. Trata esta galletita con vasito de café, ¿ok? Eso es difícil, ¿ok?
So shortly after that film was made, I went back to the United States. I quit my job, packed up all my stuff, and I moved here. So I live here now, and you know, it's just been, we just surpassed the 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Maria. This event was actually originally planned for September 20th, the exact like 1 year anniversary of the hurricane. and due to a few logistical things, we moved it a month just to be on the safe side. But it's been a year, and it's actually kind of prolific of where we are right now, where we're standing. Where this facility, as you can see, it's still kind of under construction, was damaged during the hurricane, and it's recently been renovated. And the entire island is going through a renaissance. I don't know how many people are from here originally, or how many people are from international, but the island is going through a renaissance right now. And not only are we rebuilding, there's actually a t-shirt called Hurricane Strong that is available from Parallel 18, the tech accelerator out here. And it made the island stronger, right? It made the island stronger. A lot of people left, but a lot of people came back. And, you know, I think it's an old saying, right? Like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think nothing could be closer to the truth. So that's the last time we're gonna talk about Hurricane Maria. I'm sorry to start it off that way, but what I kind of realized from the first few days of the events leading up to here, a lot of people don't know who I am, right? They just know this crazy guy with a disrupt hat that's like bombing everyone's selfies. So a lot of people don't know who I am or why I'm here. So I wanted to start off by just starting the conversation with the purpose of our organization. And the purpose of our organization is to have a positive impact on the 3.5 million people that live on this island. And we believe that the way to do that is by creating financial freedom, right? We went door to door, we gave people 1 case of water, maybe 2, right? That's enough water for maybe a week. We want to provide water for the rest of people's lives. And we feel the way to do that is through technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. That's why we're here today. And yeah, so I want to talk about one more thing, and then we'll get into our next speaker. She's an amazing individual, born and raised right here in Puerto Rico in Bayamon. But before I get into that, I want to talk about fear, right? And fear and limiting beliefs, right? So in life, we encounter fear on a daily basis. And what are some of the things that people encounter fear about, right? Well, what are you scared of? What's something that you have fear of? It could be anything. Hunger, great, that's a good one. There's tons of stores around here that sell food, but great, yeah, but you're scared about being hungry. Go ahead. Failure, right? Failure in starting a business, for sure. Fear about money. That's a huge one. That's a huge one. And so we have these fears about money, but there's no shortage of money in the world. We have these fears about food, but there's no shortage of food in the world. We have fears about failure, but Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg and all the biggest entrepreneurs in the world failed 1,000,000 times before they were able to succeed. So we have all these fears, and what we have to realize is that our state of consciousness that we're in right now, we're super civilized. Like, if we were a bunch of any other type of animal and we were in a closed space like this, we'd be fighting, we'd be killing each other, right? But we're actually crazy, crazy civilized. And if you even look back 500 years ago, even our ancestors would have been fighting and killing each other. There's less violence than there ever has been. There's more consciousness than there ever has been. But we have this old hardware, this old software that's in our brains. We have these animal instincts, and fear is one of them. So fear is attached to when you are going to die, when your life is physically in danger, right? But most of the things that we just mentioned have nothing to do with that. Whether your startup is gonna fail, whether you're gonna go into a presentation and bail it, whether you're gonna come on stage and totally bomb, right? All of those fears, they're fake because you're not in danger. If I ask a girl out and she says no, I'm not gonna die. She's not gonna pull out a dagger and cut my head off, right? If I ask for a job, for a promotion at my job, again, I'm not in bodily harm. So what we have to realize is every single time that we come up across fear, it's a old piece of hardware that's in our brains that has no relevance, no logic. It is unintelligent thinking. So what does that mean? What do we do with that, right? So it's the bad part is that it's not gonna go away, right? It's not gonna go away. You're still gonna have feelings of fear. You're still gonna have feelings of regret. But every single time that you have a feeling of fear and it doesn't involve any type of bodily harm, I want you to remind yourself that that is a limiting belief, that you're not in any physical danger, and that you need to use your intelligent thinking to make those decisions, right? And you know, this is a great testament to that, right? So tons of people saying, hey, don't go down there, X, Y, and Z, 100 things, right? But you can't listen to the little voices in your head that are pessimists, right? And we all have them. It's like, it's our abuela talking, it's our cousins and our uncles and all the people who put these limiting beliefs in our head that have us scared to take the actions that we know are right in the world. And if we're able to let go of those limiting beliefs and we're able to believe in ourselves and also believe in each other, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. So yeah, that's my little rant on fear.